Welcome to The Explainer. Let's pull up a seat around this cybernetic campfire to decode what is basically the master protocol of human existence. Today, we're looking at a framework of thought that literally spans all the way from ancient desert revelations right to the cutting edge of modern ontology. This is a journey into the mechanics of how we actually process reality itself. We're talking about the Zakah versus Daka protocol. And that brings us right to the ultimate mystery, doesn't it? Like, what exactly bridges our physical, material bodies with our inner awareness? For centuries, you've had philosophers and scientists endlessly debating this hard problem of consciousness. Are we just highly advanced biological machines? Or are we pure spiritual beings trapped in physical shells? Well, today, we're going to unlock a master code that proves we are something else entirely. So let's dive into Section 1, the primordial baseline, Fitra. The absolutely crucial thing to understand here is that we are not born as blank slates. No way. In this ontological framework, Fitra is essentially our inherent primordial programming, and it's perfectly tuned to connect with the divine. It's not just pure, isolated interiority like some Western idealism might try to tell you. And on the flip side, it's definitely not just some robotic stimulus response to the outside world like strict empiricism claims. Instead, think of it as a living, breathing disposition. It's an active, highly interactive state of readiness that is literally just waiting for a signal. Now, when that inner readiness finally meets an external signal, boom, it creates a barzakh. Imagine an emerald spark that suddenly flashes into existence from the friction of two opposing poles. The barzakh is an emergent ontological law. It isn't just taking two things and finding the mathematical midpoint. No, it is an entirely new third state that arises from the interaction of those two forces, without destroying either of them. In fact, pretty much everything in existence actually relies on this kind of dynamic interaction. Moving right along to Section 2, the material pole, Daka. So to have a barzakh, you obviously need distinct poles to interact, right? The first one is Daka, which is our absolute grounding in the physical world. It represents the active, material self, what we call the nafs. It's deeply rooted in literal words and physical deeds, giving us the necessary, hard logic we need to survive, to build things, and to process external reality. But here's the catch. On its own, it's just dry, mechanical calculation. It's simply action, totally devoid of a deeper, animating spirit.
Which brings us to Section 3, the spiritual pole, Zakah.
Okay, so if Daka is the cold, hard logic of the material world, Zakah is its absolute antithesis. We're talking pure spiritual micro-consciousness here. It represents the perceiving heart, known as the fuad. This is the realm of profound inner conviction, deep belief, and mental affirmation. Zakah is what provides that deep, holistic meaning to the things we do. But, and this is a big but, if we isolate Zakah and remove it entirely from the physical world, we end up introducing a massive glitch into the human operating system. Now, what's really interesting here is what happens when you focus exclusively on Zakah, like the pursuit of nirvana. It often leads to completely withdrawing from reality rather than actually mastering it. A lot of Eastern philosophies concentrate so heavily on this spiritual pole that they sometimes end up treating the physical body as an obstacle, or even an illusion that just needs to be silenced. And what does that do? It creates spiritual consciousness without any material anchor. Ultimately, it's Zakah without the Daka. Let's transition over to Section 4, Hikmah, the sovereign wisdom. The reality is we simply cannot survive on just the material or just the spiritual. The ultimate master code requires a true synthesis of the two. Fusing that material intellect with spiritual wisdom creates hikmah, or sovereign wisdom. That is the barzakh. It's the emergent spark that only ignites when the literal, physical deeds of the body align perfectly with the deeply held inner convictions of the perceiving heart. And this gives us the exact equation for what actually makes us fully alive and aware. Full human consciousness isn't just one or the other. It's a complete package. Consciousness itself is a barzakh between the physical body and the elevating spirit. When we really dig into the rigorous ontological data here, it is absolutely wild to see how this framework elegantly solves the hard problem of consciousness, a problem where modern biology repeatedly falls short. You look at Western models like those of Thomson and Deacon, and they start with biological life or physical constraints, but they really struggle to accurately name the spiritual pole. The barzakh theory, on the other hand, definitively sources our purpose and inner experience directly in the fuad, elegantly marrying it to the material nafs. And this whole concept leads us straight into Tawhid, the concept of divine oneness. But within this protocol, it's not just some dry, static theological talking point. True unity is the active, constant witnessing of this dynamic barzakh in literally every single atom of reality. From the microscopic cellular metabolism that's keeping your body alive right now to the massive, mind-boggling expansion of galaxies, everything is operating as a perfectly balanced barzakh.
All right, moving into Section 5, the Triad of Revelation.
To really understand how this incredibly deep protocol was transmitted to humanity over time, we have to look to history and the messengers. What we see is a perfectly sequenced rollout of the law. It was progressively rooted in love and designed entirely for infinite human growth. Each specific era brought exactly what humanity needed at that exact moment in time, culminating in a complete, final system designed to bridge every single aspect of our existence.
For example, take Isa, or Jesus. Now, in this framework, he isn't viewed as some purely ethereal, untouchable ghost floating above it all. Not at all. He is viewed as a powerful, incredibly grounded synthesis of body and spirit. He isn't an illusion. He is the literal, physical embodiment of this dynamic interplay. He anchors profound spiritual truth in a deeply tangible, strong, and highly physical reality. And honestly, in this master code, no entity is too small to participate. Even the absolute humblest creatures of the earth, the sheep, the camel, the donkey, they are all operating on this exact same baseline of fitra. They serve as living, breathing witnesses to this unfolding cosmic truth, participating in the exact same ontological reality that we do. It's a true biopunk reality. Naturally, this massively shared fitra requires a physical and metaphysical gathering point. Makkah is so much more than just a location on a map. Its very name implies a place that absorbs or inclines humanity towards it. Physically, it operates as a massive global hub where knowledge and cultures synthesize. Metaphysically, it is the Qibla, the direction of prayer that unifies the spiritual focus of literally millions, acting as the ultimate physical anchor for global spiritual unity. But you know what the most beautiful realization here is? It's that uncovering this code isn't about learning something entirely new. It's actually a remembering. As the scholar Ibn Taymiyyah so perfectly pointed out, it's about remembering what has always been deeply encoded within your fitra. You already know this. We simply need the right signals from the outside world to spark and awaken that inner, dormant readiness. So as we let the cybernetic campfire fade out for this explainer, I really want to leave you with a question. What steps are you going to take today to synthesize your own sovereign wisdom? Because you're not just a mechanical, material machine, and you're definitely not just a detached floating spirit. You are the barzakh. You are the spark. So how will you align your physical deeds with your absolute deepest inner convictions to truly master your reality?